Hey, what's up? My name's Samuel Leeds. I'm a property investor, and in this video, I'm going to be giving you 3 ways how you can buy a HMO property using none of your own money. What is a HMO? A HMO is a house of multiple occupancy. It's probably the most profitable way of renting out property on a residential basis. Instead of renting out a house to a family or to a single person, you rent it out on a room by room basis. That's what it's called, HMO, house of multiple occupancy. First question is, how much money do you typically need when buying a HMO property? So maybe you want to do it with no money at all. That's fine, we'll get there. But firstly, how much do you normally need? Well, I normally buy my HMOs between £100,000 and £150,000. That would just be for a 4-bed HMO. Now, for a 4-bed HMO, you do not need a license. You don't need to get it registered with the council. However, I would still suggest getting fire doors and doing it properly, but you won't need to get a license, so it does give you a little bit more freedom. So £100,000 to £150,000. What's your deposit going to be? 25%? That's going to be somewhere between around about £25,000, £35,000, £40,000 as a deposit. On top of that, you're going to have to pay your stamp duty. On top of that, you're going to have to pay for the fire doors and the smoke alarms, and also depending on if you buy or lease the furniture, you might have some costs there as well. So on average, this is going to be broadly speaking, you might need around about £40,000, £45,000 all in to buy a HMO. Now, if you've got £40,000, that's a smart thing to do because the return is great because you're going to rent it out room by room. How much do rooms rent out for? Maybe about £350, £400 per room. You're going to have to pay bills, council tax, your mortgage payments. On average, a HMO property will leave you with a profit of around about somewhere between £600 and £1,000 a month. The great thing about HMOs is you don't need many of those to retire. If you're getting £800 profit, clean profit in your back pocket per month for a HMO, you just need what, 4 or 5 of those to be making a good few £1,000s a month, and you are financially free. That's why so many people want to buy HMOs. Problem is, people don't have lots of deposits, 40 grand here, 40 grand there, kicking about to go ahead and buy these HMOs. If you haven't got the money, what do you do? Well, there's 3 really easy ways to buy a HMO with no money. The first way is to just joint venture. Just joint venture or borrow the money. If you know how to take £40,000, put it down and make £700, £800 profit a month on that money, but you haven't got the £40,000, just borrow it, pay a small return on investment, and then keep the difference and then have a free house. It's just, this is not rocket science, you know, and people say that's risky. It's only risky if you don't know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing, it's what all rich people do. Robert Kiyosaki talks about this, having infinite return. Grant Cardone, these are all people that I've sat with, chatted with, had coffee with. Grant Cardone, he borrows people's money, then invests it, gives a fixed return, keeps the rest, and has free houses. So that will be the first way. Now, of course, you've got to know what you're doing if you're going to borrow people's money, or even if you're going to borrow the bank's money, you need to know what you're doing. Another option, which is still going to count, there's 3, but this is still number 1, is joint venture. If you know someone who's got the money but hasn't got the know-how that you have when it comes to HMOs, or maybe they live in an area where HMOs don't work and they think that you have to be close by because they don't understand, or maybe they think that HMOs are good but they're a lot of work and they don't want to put the work in, you could say, hey, investor, I know you like the idea of the cash flow of HMOs, but you don't know exactly where to buy it and this the hassle. How about this? I, as a HMO expert, will buy the HMO, I will manage it, I'll do everything, I'll liaise with the carpenters to come up with the fire doors in, I'll do everything, you put the money in and we'll go 50-50 on any profits. How's that sound? You might not be getting £700 a month, you're only getting £350, but you put no money in. Just do that twice, it's as if you did it with your own money. Other people's money, banks' money, raise finance, joint venture, that's just one way. The second way to buy HMOs using none of your own money, if you haven't got unlimited deposits, buy a house that needs a lot of work doing to it, and instead of just refurbishing it into a lovely family home, assuming of course it's in the right area to be a potential HMO, then when you restore it to a HMO. You buy a house, maybe a 2-3 bed, horrible house, really ugly, but in a good location. I always say buy the worst house in the best street. Once you've restored it into a HMO, then you refinance it, and if you do it right, you can pull back all of your money out. Leah and Cheryl Miller have been doing this successfully in Telford. I've done this, many of our students do this. It's called buy, refurbish, refinance, rent. And I know you've probably seen people do this with little tiny houses and then rent them out for £550 a month. You can do that, but you can also do it really successfully with HMOs. Great thing about doing it with HMOs, you can turn the rooms into little bed sits. I'd recommend speaking to a valuer and a lender before you do this. Don't just do it off this YouTube video. You can get a HMO and then you can value it based off the commercial value if it's the right kind of HMO. So you can buy an ugly residential house, restore it, make it beautiful, put it room by room, studio apartments, however you want to do it, and then get a new value based off of the commercial value. And the commercial value is a case of how much is it going to rent for. Value it higher and then pull out all of the money that you first put in, and that's called recycling your cash. And this is so easy to do when you have the right knowledge. This is easy if you've got a little bit of money, maybe you've got 40, 50, 60,000 pounds, and you don't want to just go ahead and buy one HMO and then what's next? Instead, you can recycle it. If you haven't got the money, you can do a combination of 1 and 2. So you can borrow someone else's money or joint venture with someone else, buy a HMO, restore it, refinance it, and then do it again and again and again and again. So you can do a combination of 1 and 2. If you're doing number 2 and you're gonna add value and then refinance it, the way to do it is to get a bridging loan. So you're gonna put down a little bit of deposit to buy the house, which you might need to borrow someone's money, or you might have. Then get a short-term bridging loan for the rest of the balance of the purchase price. You can also get 100% refurb finance. So you can get another bridging loan to pay for the refurb, and then get a whole new loan, which will be a mortgage, commercial mortgage, HMO mortgage, buy-to-let mortgage, whatever, depending on the house. And then that pays off the others and pays you back for the deposit that you put down in the first place. It's just genius. So that's the second way of buying a HMO with no money or someone else's money, and keep recycling it and going on and on. If you don't understand that, you've got questions on that, comment below, and maybe I need to do a deeper video about this. Number 3, this is how I've made most of my wealth in property. Rent to rent. So rent to rent is if you find a HMO or a property that's got the potential to be a HMO, but it's not being run as a HMO, and you say to the landlord, hey, I know you're looking to rent this house out. You're asking for £600 a month. I think you could run it as a HMO and get £1,600 a month. Why don't you do that? And the landlord says, well, because I can't be bothered. I don't want the hassle. And then you say to him, well, listen, I understand that, but I'm happy to have the hassle. So how about you want 600, I'll give you 600. And I'll pay for all the maintenance. I'll give you a guaranteed £600 for 5 years, and then I'll rent it out as a HMO. Now, from his point of view, you're giving him what he wants, plus you're paying for any maintenance issues. You're giving him a guaranteed rent so he has no voids. From your point of view, you're giving him 600, but then you're renting it as a HMO and you're keeping all the profit, you're keeping all the difference, and you don't own it, which is cool. That's rent to rent. So what I do is I do that with a landlord, but then I set an agreed price to buy the property for down the line. So let's say you've got a landlord who's selling the house, or he's trying to rent it, and he's a tired HMO landlord, or he's a tired landlord and the house has potential to be a HMO, but he doesn't know or understand. So you say, look, I'll buy it off you for, you set the price now, but in 5 years time or 7 years time. Then you pay him a monthly rent. You keep all the cash flow each month, the difference. With that cash flow, what do? Do you go to Nando's with the money? Do you go on holiday? Do you buy a new car? No. Any profit that you make, you put it aside, and then in 5 years, what do you use it for? You use it to buy the house, which means the deal has paid for itself. Oh, and guess what? Cherry on the cake. In 5 years, what happens to properties? Properties over time, do they go up or down? And the answer is, of course, up. So in 5 years, the property's probably gone up in value. Even if it hasn't, you can still buy it. But if it's gone up, you buy it for the price that you agreed then. So you use all that income to buy the house. You've also got a bargain. The house has gone up in value. You could potentially then refinance it and use the deposit again to buy another one. This is how it snowballs when you know the skills of being able to buy properties with none of your own money. And when you do it with HMOs, geez, it's good because you don't need many HMOs to replace an average income, which means that you can be financially free. When you become financially free, what do? You go buy more and you keep snowballing it until you become super wealthy. Why do you want to become super wealthy? For me, it's about mission. It's about helping people. It's about leaving a difference in the world. The reason I do these YouTube videos is because I'm on a mission. I want to leave the world a better place than I found it, and I want to be remembered for something bigger than myself. So I'd love to help as many people as possible. If you want to help me, then just smash the subscribe button, drop a comment below, because your success is my oxygen, and seeing the comments, it really, really gives me a lot of satisfaction. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.